Hey, good morning. How's it going? All right, here we are. Back again. Once again, I'm torn in two directions today. Yesterday, I stayed up way too late finishing these. So we have definitive shapes now for the single wall slopes, which are the slopes that just replace a single wall block. We also have slopes for a wall plus floor block. I think I also need slopes for just floor blocks. Some that like imitate the wall here. Close to it. I think I need to do that. I'm not going to do that right now. We also started working on miniaturized versions. So we've got like these here, the regular 1:1 scale blocks. And then for our ship view, for our zoomed out ship view where you can see more than one ship at a time, we need to render the exteriors. So we're making a half scale version of the little blocks that we can render. I did this one wrong. So yeah, I don't necessarily want to keep working on this today. I kind of want to do a couple other things. I should pack this into a sprite sheet, but we need to figure out how we're actually going to put this into the auto tiler. Because at the moment, the auto tiler just knows there is a block, it's a wall, or it's a floor, or it's a door. That's all it knows. It knows that there's a block there, and it knows what the block's neighbors are. And knowing what the block's neighbors are lets it do the hull coloration for like the dark gray being like solid, sealed, entombed spaces. The light gray being like interior exposed spaces like rooms and stuff. So we need to introduce some new concepts to the auto tiler. Like, I almost want to call this decoration, or maybe it's a bulk and it's a decoration, because we can use compound flags here for now. That might not always be true. That might not be true if we switch to a more component styled thing, but I kind of like bit flags. So as long as we're using bit flags, I think I can just add a decoration flag and it'll let the system know that this is like different. But it's a little tricky because like a wall, if you've got a wall here up against this block, you don't want to color the wall here dark because the bottom half of it's exposed. Like you'd turn around and you'd see this and you'd see the wall behind it and you'd see this part here. But if it's up against this block, you do want to color it darker. So I don't know, maybe we just have like a field or something for them, like a solid block field. For whatever face they might have that might be solid. Because at the moment it's just one, but obviously we could have different versions of these shapes. There's some more complex shapes that we haven't done. NCB of all Gaia, how's it going? How are you doing? We're working on expanding our auto tiler, because right now all it can accept are like... You're going meh? Ah, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully it gets better soon. But yeah, at the moment, our auto tiling system is not sophisticated. It can only handle these solid blocks. We need to be able to draw more angular, interesting things here, so that we can actually start working towards making ships, not just these like cement boats. That's all we can currently draw. I need to incorporate this in the auto tiler. I also need to fix this bug, this weird bug, but I don't want to deal with that right now. So how are we going to incorporate this into the auto tiler? It's going to be mostly in the hull types code. The hull types code is going to need to do some work here. It's going to need to know the deco flag, and it's going to need to know a piece of information. It's going to need to know like the back of the object, the back face, quote unquote. I guess what it needs to know is the orientation of it, because like you have this block and then you turn 90 degrees and you get this block, and you turn 90 degrees and you get this block, you turn 90 degrees, you get this block. So all of these blocks, so these are all rotations, which is not something we've had to really deal with. So we have a bunch of new concepts we need to introduce to the auto tiler. The directionality of it is one thing. So I guess we can have vectors associated with this. Like for these ones, the Y or the Z, I guess. I guess they're going to have three-dimensional vectors associated with them. So the Z for these would be up because their slope is facing up. And the Z for these could be down because the slope is facing down. Then you could just have because some of these vectors are weird. Like this one faces XY positive. So this would be like 1, 1, 1. And then this one, it's facing diagonally, so it would be 1, 0, 1. So yeah, we're gonna need to map vectors to... Okay, that helps. I'm glad we have 8 of these, because this would be a problem otherwise. So we can just match up vectors for all of these. And we just need to lay it out in the sprite sheet in such a way that it makes sense. I wanted to talk about other software architecture things today, but I think auto tiling is going to take all of our attention. I wanted to talk more about the development in parallel of like the C# game manager and all of that stuff, but I think I want to push our current technology far enough. I want to push our current auto tiling system far enough to be able to do this. Then we also need to add zoom. We need to be able to zoom and swap the pieces for the miniaturized pieces. That's going to be interesting. I honestly am not sure how we're going to do that. We might need a second set of tile. Yeah, we'll probably just have different tile maps that are at a smaller scale. Something like that. And we swap between them. Radiant Wisp. Hello, how's it going? Hey, Radiant Wisp. It's going good. We're expanding our... I know people get tired of this demo, but we're expanding our auto tiling tool, which we're using to make little spaceships. Right now it's really bare bones. We can basically just place floors, walls. We can make rooms like this. And we can place doors. But it's a full auto tiling system, like it's managing the outlining and all in this cutaway stuff for us. And we're trying to expand it so that we can have more interesting shapes than just stacks of blocks. Because we can make up to 6 layers stacked here. How are you doing? Thank you. So I've drawn a bunch of sloped shapes. God, that's bright. I wish Sprite had like a dark canvas mode sometimes. Like flashbanging myself here. How's your week been so far though? Yeah, so we need to do this. We also need to be able to distinguish between the wall plus floor version and the wall only version. All right, let's think about how we're going to represent it. So we've settled on like a vector 3 representing the orientation of these blocks. We'll use the vector 3 basically as our way of mapping into the atlas coordinates. So I guess let's do that. Let's try to pack them in here. Maybe it'll be a vector 4 so that we can acknowledge this. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe we'll have them on different sprite sheets. So we could use W to acknowledge different modes. So we could have like floor only, wall plus floor. Could do that. That could work. Let's look at our stuff. Let's look at our code. My other mouse, 1 second. This other mouse, I have this second mouse, which is less ergonomic, but it has like a horizontal scroll wheel. You can change, reading it says you can change the 2 background options in preferences, background and A-Sprite. Oh, nice, nice. Okay. Oh yeah, look at that. I'll have to pick what colors I want. I'll have to do some thinking. Because I want it softer than what it is, but it also can't be too dark or we'll lose the outlines stuff here. Maybe I'll pick a nice, like, just a more relaxed color. That's a good point. Thank you, Radiant. The code. So here we go through. This is the code for the floor. This is the code for the wall. Oh, now that's a trick. That's a trick here. I didn't think about that. We might actually need to split this up. Oops. A-Sprite does not like my horizontal scroll wheel. It just is like, oh, you want to scroll? Let's go. Let's take you to each end of the canvas. It's like, I know you could do better than that. Oh, I guess scroll doesn't really do the same thing. Or the scroll wheel behavior is not the same in Sprite as maybe I'm expecting. All right, so let's not worry about this for now, because I realize now this is tricky because we've separated the walls and the floors onto separate layers, onto separate tile map layers. And these shapes have them rendered the same, so I'm gonna need to split these probably. If I split them correctly, then we can just stack them like vertically. Like we could take this one, go up. We could go up just to the next floor. So yeah, I need to do that. I should split this up, use it to build this set, maybe. Then we can have a couple different sets. Let's start with just this one, just the wall one. Let's try to do this bit by bit here. Unless it becomes obvious that we shouldn't. So here, in this code, we go through each of the coordinates in the tile blocks. We grab the coordinates that are on our layer, on our deck number here. So we have multiple ship decks, and each deck has multiple tile map layers. So we've got 3 for the floor, 3 for the wall, 1 for the door. You know what might be actually the easiest one to implement is this one, is this tall one here. We would just need to, we'd need to split it apart, like I said. So we need to like take the lower chunk of this, whatever conforms to this section of it, split it off. Because here in our tile map or our tile set, we have it split off. We have it on this one giant atlas, which is too big, but I wanted to do it this way so I'd have room for alternatives. So we have like, we'll take the same sprite sheet and then split it out into 4 different sources so that we can have floor sides, the tops of the floors, the sides of the walls, and the tops of the walls, which are different. It uses the same image, but it uses different offsets and stuff. So we'll need to make sources for these decorative pieces. May or may not be able to fit them in here somewhere. They'll probably have their own sheets. Radiant, how did you come up with this steep angle for your game? You usually see isometric pixel art with a 60-degree step with 2-to-1 steps on the lines. Yes, so that's a good observation. So yeah, normal pixel art would be over 2 down 1, over 2 down 1, over 2 down 1, over 2 down 1, which would be a lot easier, frankly, if we were doing pixel art, if we were doing traditional pixel art stuff. We're doing a dimetric, which is 4-to-1. You can kind of see it. We go over by 4 before we step down by 1. And I just picked this. It seemed interesting to me. It seemed like a more interesting view. It seemed like an unusual view. It definitely has some challenges. Here's like a piece of concept art I made last year. So this is more of a side-on view, and I kind of like it. So I don't have a good reason. I guess you asked me how I came up with this. I just tried some different stuff. I tried, I don't think I have the files anymore. Let me see if I have any of my old iteration files where I was exploring different perspectives and spaces. No. But yeah, it was just kind of an interesting iteration. I like what it does. I like the side view. Honestly, actually, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why we did this. The reason why we did this, you'll notice that the characters are pretty much drawn side on. Like the chairs they're sitting in, the way they're standing and sitting. Like the environment is in this 4:1, 4:1 dimetric view. But the characters themselves are kind of drawn pretty much side on here. So I do still have some of those sitting around. Let me see if I can grab one of those files. So where's like a little character? Here's one. So like, I just couldn't draw the characters in the perspective at this resolution. Because like if we drew this from a traditional isometric view, we'd get like a chibi, like a little tiny shortened character. But I could only really figure out this kind of view. And I'm not a great animator. This is like an idea, a test of them maybe fighting or something. We also have a run. But yeah, I could only figure out how to draw these little guys from this side-on view, so it kind of informed everything else. That's kind of how we ended up getting here. Where's their like running animation? Okay. So like here's another character. That's interesting. So you can draw stuff side on and it will not look flat like the isometric ones often do. Yeah, I think the combination of the side-on characters with the more in perspective environment is almost going to create a kind of pop-up book feel. That's my inclination. Hey Trapper, how's it going? How are you doing today? How do I get this to play? So like, here's a little running animation. It's like brutally simple, and I'll probably add some additional in between frames. But we're at such a low resolution that, yeah, I could barely figure out these side-on characters. Because they're really not the focus. Like, they're going to be running around, they're going to be doing stuff. Like, they're obviously important, but the main character is the ship, right? The main character is the ship, which is why it gets all of the attention. It gets this big auto-tiling tool, it gets all these different pieces. All right, so how are we going to integrate these different decorative hull type pieces into the auto tiler? So the auto tiler does this series of steps. It goes through all of the coordinates in the blocks for its level. Because we go deck by deck, we go level by level. We check to see what opposite block is. So like 2 block faces. Because we do it per face, so we like, if we're drawing this block face, we're drawing the block face, we want to know what block is pressed up against it. Is there any rules that this observes that we can make use of? Not really. Like for these, like the back face is whatever the opposite of the one they're facing in direction wise is. But for like these ones, that's not true. I guess I could check to see. So these have direction vectors, right? So like this one's direction vector is 1, 1, 1 because it's facing positive X, positive Y, and positive Z. So this has no 0 vector, whereas this one is facing positive X, 0 Y. So we could say something where we could put them together. We could do something like we could check the X and Y flags. We could check the X and Y flags, and we could say the solid face is the one with 0. So the ones that don't have 0 don't have a solid face. That's kind of a hack at the moment, but that's maybe okay. Problem we're going to run into is that we really didn't provide a way of storing information, additional information about the tile beyond what kind of block it is. So that's something we need to change. And in the future, we can almost use like a component to include that information. Right now, it's just a flag. Which is a little unfortunate. So this might actually be kind of hard. We might need to just say, we might just need to store a separate dictionary right now of deco blocks, of decoration blocks that have their direction recorded. That's fine. We can be a little kind of hacky with this implementation because this whole system is going to be refactored relatively soon. So if we can do that, if we can pass in the direction of the decoration tile, we can do some checks against its axis flags. We can like OR together the X and the Y flags and see if that matches. I'm gonna do this just for walls at first, I think. And then we'll figure out how to extend it across walls and floors. That's the most straightforward thing to do right now. So we go here, we go to our hull stack where we keep the tile blocks. We're gonna make a new dictionary. We're gonna call it deco blocks. To here, here, not here. Block. So we have a null, deck, bulk, door. I think I'm gonna eventually have deco come before either of these, maybe? Or maybe after. It'll be like deck, bulk, deco, door. But we'll implement it like this for now. Let deco be 8. Oh, we could be storing blocks. Comp, position. We could also include a direction. we storing blocks or are we just storing block flags? Because if we do that, if we just put it in an object, that's going to be like the most straightforward way to do this. At the moment, we are just putting in flags, which is unfortunate. But we could change that. We could change that so that we record the whole object. At which point we'll be able to include more information. But it's a lot of information we don't need. I think for now, I'm just going to stitch in this deco, this decoration layer as like a separate thing, and then we'll figure out how to. I don't want to refactor that whole thing right now. I don't mind it being a little patchy. So replace block at block.comp. Erase mode if not hidden blocks. Yeah, there's some major ways we need to rewrite this anyway. Because there's ways in which our system doesn't work right now. Like, if you place a wall, the system presumes that you also need a floor, which is, like, reasonable. Like, you can place this floor, and then you're placing walls. And here it's like, fine, let's just throw the wall up. But if you move off of the established floor, you can see it adds the floor. You can kind of see under my cursor here that it's adding the floor if we don't already have it. And that is not something that we want eventually, because that basically makes it impossible to place these kind of blocks. Like, these kinds of blocks should descend from like the bottom of the ship or the side of the ship, and they should not have a floor tile underneath them, because if it auto places a floor tile underneath them, it's going to look like this. It's going to look really stupid. We'll just like do this. The auto tiler will just be like bop. I guess it's not the auto tiler, but the build tool will just do that on instinct, because that's what I told it to do. Okay, so actually supporting this at this moment is actually really hard with our existing system. Maybe we do need a more full full implementation to make this work. Might change directions a little bit today and not focus so much on that. Add some canvas space. Yeah. Okay. So what should we do now? If we can't shoehorn this in without a major refactor, which we need to do, but I like to spend a little time thinking about that first. I guess we should maybe plan that out, is what we should do. So what do we want to do now? We can either keep drawing tiles. I could draw like the floor tiles, the angled floor tiles. I need to draw these miniature tiles. Or we could talk about system architecture. We could get into Obsidian and do some stuff. I recently discovered the canvas. Piece. Where is it? It's like here, maybe. Create a new canvas. This is cool. We can make like flow charts and stuff. So we could say like game manager. Make this a little. Oh, can I not make this bigger? I can't make these bigger. That sucks. Maybe I can. But yeah, we can just basically like make flow charts and make like system architecture design stuff. It's kind of cool. We can connect stuff together. That's pretty cool. So we could do some system stuff. I'm a little upset that we can't resize these. Also seemingly can't grab this one. What are the miniatures for? I will explain. So I did a little bit of this yesterday. I'm going to try to explain this again. So the plan. So there's this ship, which is the ship that we're drawing out. This area, this white outline area, this is like the ship in focus. So this is going to be your view when you're like fully zoomed in on the ship, and you're looking at your crew running around. You're doing all that stuff. You're like fully zoomed in, but there's really only room on the screen for your ship and like the UI. There's really no room for anything else. So what we're going to do. So let's make a big space here. Let's make a space that's like 2 by 1. There we go. Wish I could increase the amount of stroke that this system does. So let's split this roughly in half. So here's like one view. That's the view that we were talking about. So like, this is your standard view. I'm gonna just draw this big diamond to represent your ship area. And I will answer your question. I'm just kind of doing it in a roundabout way. So let's say this diamond is your ship area and this is like the screen. Let's get some more screen space here. Get this out of the way. Well, you can zoom out and look at just the exterior of your ship. And so that'll be, so let's grab this. So let's grab your ship here. Let's move it here and let's make it smaller. So like maybe half. Yeah, this is about half size. So we need the half size miniature version of your ship so that we can zoom out and show the exterior of your ship and also show other ships. This is not a great example. This is not to scale. So that you can see ships on either side of you. This is like too full, but this is like the maximum area. The ship is going to be smaller than this, so this zoom down thing should be okay. So we need a miniature version of the ship so that we can show just the exterior of the ship zoomed out so that you can see what's around you. Like maybe there's a star base here, or maybe there's an enemy ship, or maybe a friendly ship. And so so this is your ship in focus, but maybe you're launching a boarding action. So you move over to this ship, the enemy ship, and you bring this ship into focus. So now you're zoomed in on the enemy ship, and you can see like the interior of the enemy ship, and you can like direct your crew to like beam over and sabotage stuff, or like maybe they're trying to escape. And you can zoom out again, see all of this, and then you can zoom back into your ship, which is always going to be in the center. So it's kind of, so you'll be drawing miniature tiles for every exterior tile in the game. Yes, just for exterior tiles, but yes. A little tedious, but it's pixel art. There's really no shortcuts for doing something like that. It's actually kind of easy. Like I knocked these up. It's actually, this shape collapses down to half scale like really well. we can't go farther. I tried to go farther. I tried to go to quarter scale, and the perspective starts to break down. But we can do 1:1 and 1:2 pretty easily. 1:2 is almost cleaner. But yeah, it does mean we need to draw everything twice. And in fact, we need to draw everything 8 times. So if I want to have this block, I need to be able to draw it from this angle, from this angle, from this angle, and from this angle. And then I need to draw all 4 of these angles in miniature. So will I end up hating this in a couple of years? Yes. There is a shortcut of just zooming out the camera, but you suspect you are going for pixel perfect, or at least consistent pixel sizes. Yeah, we're going for pixel perfect. Our game canvas is 360. It's 360p tall. It's 640 by 360, like the gold standard for pixel art, because it can go into 720p and 1080p as whole pixels. You do 480 by 270 in yours? Oh, interesting. I've only ever done the multiples of like 180. So I have done smaller. I've done like whatever, something by 180. What is it? It's half of 640. 320. I've done 320 by 180. I like 640 by 360. I maybe do want the doors to just go away when I'm cutting away like this. Hey, Verlansky, how's it going? So I still don't understand what this, I don't know if I can even get this to load, what this add condition PLM root thing is. It only is triggered when we try to modulate our tile cells. So I'm probably doing something where I'm trying to like modulate a tile cell that doesn't exist anymore or something like that. But we're gonna stop modulating tile cells anyway in the new system. The new system is going to split the auto tiler part away from the hull calculation stuff. So we're just gonna not assign a cell. We're just gonna delete or add a cell instead of toggle the modulation of it for the cutaway system. It's fast enough to just redraw the tile map layer anyway, I think, unless I can figure out this modulation thing. It's going terrible. You've been teaching yourself C++ from W3 schools. You're rocking in your chair, not understanding why the world hasn't moved on from it. Yeah, I am glad I'm choosing C# instead of C++ for this. I do not want. Okay, so I kind of want to, because we're realizing that we've kind of hit the limit of our current system here for this. I kind of want to just start spitballing software architecture stuff. I really wanted to zoom to selection. Oh, here we go. Oh, I found it. This stupid thing was hiding it. I can change the canvas thing sizes. I kind of want to, so untitled, this is going to be like, what are we going to name this? This is going to be like, system diagram. I don't know. So we're going to have our game manager, which is going to be the only one of a handful of C# scripts that are tied into Godot. It's going to be one of the only ones that has the loop that's hooked into the like per frame like process loop. And so this system is going to run all of the other managers. And so let's list out some of the other managers we need. One of the only things that's going to feed into it is going to be the input handler, which is going to be an auto load. Guess we'll make it 2 words. So the input handler. Move this up here. Make it longer just so it, oh, cool, we can be in between spaces. So the input handler will feed into the game manager. The game manager is going to control a whole bunch of other systems. You're hoping you're just confused because you haven't seen these things used in a valid context, so just trying to assume it works this way for a reason. I'm sure it does work this way for a reason. I still don't like it. Okay, so what are some things here? So there will be like a ship manager that manages all of the different ships. Obviously, we need one of those. Can we make this shorter? No, we cannot. So we'll need the ship manager. And then can I move this around and it'll keep the, oh, this is cool. I'm enjoying this. So we'll need a ship manager. We'll need a crew manager, which I want the crew to be managed independently from the ships because the crews might end up on different ships, like during boarding actions and things like that. They might end up on a different ship than they were originally, a ship other than their assigned ship. So I want that to be different. Oh. That's also managed by the game manager. We've got some other stuff. What other managers do we have? We're going to need a path manager. We might even want a path finder that's like an auto load. No, we don't want it to be an auto load. We want a path manager. This is a system that's going to handle the path finding for us, or managing the existence in the network of paths. It may or may not be part of the ship manager. Kind of want to have it up here because I think the crew manager and the ship manager are both going to need to talk to it. We're just listing. We're listing systems we need. We're not going too crazy with it. How might that work? You'd expect crew manager to be managed by the ship manager, and crew can be added and subtracted from crew managers as they move ships. I don't want crews. I don't want crew manager to be beholden to each ship. So like based on the instances of every ship, because I want the crews to be able to operate persistently. So like if you're the crew on one ship and you get beamed over to another ship, the crew manager is going to need information from the ship manager. So, and it's going to also need information from the path manager, and the path manager is going to need information. So I guess you could argue that crew manager and path manager could both be underneath ship manager because they both depend on this stuff. You could definitely argue that. That's a reasonable organization. Let's try that for a minute. I don't know if we'll stick with that, but let's at least try it as a starting point. So one crew managing all crew rather than one per ship. Fair enough. It's unclear to me the layering of this. I kind of don't want this. I kind of don't want managers managing managers, but you were just convinced of my idea as I became convinced of yours. I'm flexible about it. I think thinking about it in terms of this hierarchy is not super helpful. The reason why I originally had it flat was because the game manager is going to be the one that handles the game ticks. So to me, it makes sense that the game manager handles the game ticks, and then all of the other... Actually, what if a crew member is like not on any given ship? What if they're like floating in space? The path manager, I don't know. Also, not everything is a ship. There are like bases. But I guess we can think of a base as a ship, as just a ship that doesn't move. Yeah, let's keep a flat hierarchy for now. We're gonna keep a flat hierarchy for now, and we may change that. Problem though is that these are gonna need to talk to each other. Which I was going to facilitate by going through the game manager, but it might make sense that they're owned. So this will have, so the ship manager will need here's the other reason we're doing this flat. I remember now. The other reason we're doing this flat is that we want to implement this as close to a system as possible. I'm calling it a manager, but it's almost more like a system. So we also need like tile manager, a system that like an auto tile manager. Yeah, maybe this is not the right approach. Maybe it is. We're gonna have to think about this a few different ways. I want it to be as flat as possible.
You really mustn't, darling.
So let's say we have crew, and let's add a, so this is like a crew instance. So the crew manager is not going to know about crew instances. So we're going to need a scene manager, which I think is maybe going to be the game manager. Game manager might also mean manage the scenes, which makes sense to me. Because like if we want to make a crew instance, we're actually going to do that up here. You liking the music today? Yeah, it's good. Maybe I should write this out instead of trying to graph it. Where's the game manager? So we talked about this before about how the game manager manages this loop, and it goes from UI to gameplay to rendering. And the UI and the rendering are both hooked into Godot. They're both hooked into the Godot API. They're both like the UI and the rendering. These are the nodes. These are the scenes that are actually in play. And then the gameplay layer is split off. The gameplay layer is in C# land, away from everyone else. So the gameplay is going to need to do all of this stuff, and it's going to need to tell the renderer what to show. It's going to need to instance stuff in scenes. So you could also think of it this way. It could be like auto load. So you could say input, which is our auto loader, our input handler, goes to the game manager. The game manager does all of this different stuff. And then maybe it goes to the scene manager, which handles the actual rendering of things. And then the scene manager displays a bunch of scenes, or instantiates scenes. The scenes, if they're UI elements, they will talk to the input handler. And that's the loop. So the game manager talks to the scene manager, sends stuff to the scene manager. The scene manager makes scene instances, nodes, crew, ships, whatever. The extent to which they have UI elements, those UI elements are hooked into the input handler. And that's the cycle. All right, well, I blew right through my ad break, but that's fine. That's fine. So if we go, I'm just going to open up Writer. We're not going to do a lot of coding right now. We need to think about this stuff more. But I got Rider on. I got C# set up with this project, so we can make this layer. So what I'm talking about here, the only class that we have here, why is it called game? It should be called game manager. Game manager. Rename this file. So game manager is hooked in to Godot. It's got our public void override void ready, so we can do stuff. But most importantly, it has our public override void process. Input handler will as well. But input handler is an auto load, so it makes sense. And so we'll get stuff. So the input manager will feed stuff into the game manager. The game manager is going to be only one of these C# managers that's hooked into process. With maybe the exception of the scene manager. I don't know. Maybe we want the game manager and the scene manager to be similar things. The scene manager in my mind is the thing that instantiates and removes scenes. But maybe it's redundant to have that. Maybe it's better to just have the game manager handle that stuff. So maybe you think of it more like this. Input handler, game manager, scenes. The input handler feeds the game manager. The game manager makes the scenes. And then the scenes, to the extent to which they belong to UI, like areas on a crew member that let you, like for mouse pickable stuff, because these scenes need to be mouse pickable because you need to be able to select crew. So those scenes then feed the input handler, and that's kind of the loop. So yeah, maybe we don't need this concept of a scene manager. Maybe that's one and the same with the game manager. Maybe it's like, so the game manager sends all of that stuff down. I don't know about this auto tile manager. Audio manager. That we definitely need. Why is this so long? Okay, there we go. So this information goes down, and it also comes back up, so we're going to hook this the other way. And then, so like the game manager, scenes. Game manager will determine what scenes are being drawn. The scenes, we'll go back and hook into the input handler. Like this. And the scenes handle their own rendering. We don't need a lot to do with that right now. We're not super involved in that at the moment. That's pretty self-sufficient. I gotta remember that people can't see the bottom left corner of this stuff. The audio manager is a special case. I'm not sure what to do about the audio manager because the audio manager might need to feed into a audio player. So we might actually, and the audio player might also be a auto load. Or the audio manager itself might be an audio player. It's unclear. It's unclear to me how we're going to do this. Jenny Harley, hi, welcome to the channel. We're doing okay. We're doing some systems engineering stuff, some systems architecting. We're working up to a big refactor. I don't know why I couldn't think of the word. But how are you doing today? The stuff that I'm not clear on is the communication between managers, to the extent to which they need each other's information, because the path manager needs to know about the ship manager. The crew manager also needs to. Yeah, I'm heading back into the crew manager and path manager are part of the ship manager. I don't think it really matters. These are just C# scripts, right? If there's only one of them, they can reference each other easily enough. Not really, Jenny. I'm not a huge anime fan. I have been watching Delicious in Dungeon. Delicious in Dungeon has been hilarious. I've been very happy with that show. The only other anime I deeply love right now is Way of the House Husband. But what about you? So yeah, so this process function is going to hook into all of the other. So this is basically where we're going to do the game ticks. So we're going to do we'll do process our inputs from the last frame. Then we'll do then we'll proceed through the gameplay simulation. And then we'll pass along whatever information, instantiate scenes. Instantiate, manage, instantiate, update, scenes. So the nice thing about this is we can very clearly gate through the different processes of all this different stuff each time we do one of these. I'm gonna put this up here. Delete this thing. So the stuff up here, these are auto loads. So is there a way to label this connection? Create a group. Auto loads. So this is the auto loads group. So this exists up here. And then this stuff, this is going to be, okay, so this is helpful. This is helpful to do it this way. So this is another group. This is the scene tree. So auto loads are like global. They're up here. These are part of the scene tree. These things here. So like the game manager manages all the scenes, but they're all part of the scene tree. And then down here, this stuff, these are our sub-managers. Probably edit this group. So auto loads, aka globals. So the sub-managers don't really, they just exist in just the C# stuff. Yeah, sure, Jenny. Let us know. How are you doing? James, Leon, Neil, what is this Visual Studio extension? This is, I don't know if you're talking about this. This is Obsidian. So we're using Obsidian, which is pretty great. Obsidian has a nice system where you can link and tag different things here. So like we're narrative structure, we can write about stuff, then we can tag to another page. All this stuff. I recently discovered their canvas functionality. They have a bunch of different functionalities for drawing stuff. They also have a pretty cool graph view. So you can visualize the connections between your different things. So we can see that like the game loop is connected to the game manager, the Starship editor, input processing, game simulation, game rendering. So we can visualize the connection between all these. Yeah, Obsidian is great. Oh, serialization. That's a good point. We need to have like a saving and loading a manager, a serializer. That might need to hook into the Godot API. Yeah. So this is, I like this. I like this. It's a little weird the way it kind of randomly draws itself around, but it's really easy to get around here. It's kind of cool. But yeah, we're not using Visual Studios actually. We're using Writer for our code stuff. Jenny, you're a and anyway, James, Lane. Thanks for hopping in here. Welcome to the chat. We're kind of working on our FTL-like here. Jenny, you're a part-time NYC student and part-time illustrator. Hey, Jenny. Yeah, you can share your work. We have a Discord. There's a link. I love seeing people's work. We've kind of been pushing this project in one direction for a while here, so that we have this auto tiling tool where we can make these basic ship designs and view into these ships as well using this cutaway system, so we can build these things out. We can rotate these things. We can build them vertically so we can stack them on top of each other. But the shapes aren't great, so I've been trying to add some more detailed shapes. But because of the way we've architected our systems, so like I've been adding more detailed shapes here. We can't exactly plug these easily into our auto tiler, so we're gearing up for a big refactor to change the way we think about a lot of this stuff. Yep, that's us. Helper 9000 is our chatbot, which I get is not named super well. I like it. It's a cross between HAL 9000 and Helper and the Helper bot. So yeah, so we could keep working on the art a little bit. We could keep trying to think through our architecture stuff. Obviously, this is super nebulous. Things like, so like the audio manager would come from here, and then the audio manager would go up and talk to the audio player. I really like this tool. I'm gonna do all my flowcharts in here. So the ship manager is going to need to have An auto tiler. It's going to have an auto tiler. The auto tiler is going to handle all of the stuff that we were looking at as far as the way the ship is able to redraw itself, because the selection of the tiles is actually happening kind of automatically for us. That's going to need to be there. We might want to hook the audio manager back through the game manager and have that talk to the audio player. I'm not sure about the nature of this relationship. It's probably fine. It's probably fine for the audio manager to talk to the audio player. Part of the reason why we're trying to make this clean break between the C# layer and the scene tree is so that we can do like system style iterating, so that we can iterate through all of the ships, iterate through all of the crew. We can have everything packed in data, because like this ship here, the ship that's on the screen here that we're drawing here, like this ship is in the scene tree because it exists. It's being drawn. It has tile map layers associated with it and everything. But if we have like 4 other ships, 3 or 4 other ships, or like in the wings here that you can only see when you're zoomed out, those ships don't exist in the scene tree. They need to continue being updated and simulated just the same as the ship in focus, the central ship. But it doesn't need any of the UI stuff. It doesn't need any of the rendering stuff. The link is in that post, Jenny. Doesn't need any of that stuff. But so we want to split our simulation layer clean. We want to break it clean from the simulation and the rendering. We want that stuff to be totally separate. Which is why we're re-engineering this system of managers here. But it's a little nebulous. Maybe we should just start, well, we're enumerating some of them. So we know we need an audio manager, a ship manager, a crew manager, path manager. Maybe a UI manager. Okay, so the auto tiler is going to need to make zoomed out. It's going to need to be able to generate. Actually, no, it's not going to need to generate that. It can just render that. I was going to say it needs to generate miniature and non-miniature versions, but the auto tiler actually doesn't make a distinction between these blocks here and like these ones. To it, it would be the same. It would treat these the same way. It would just be a question of whether you were in the zoom mode or the non-zoom mode. Whether you were looking at the inside of your ship or the outside of your ship with the other ships nearby. That's really what would matter. So the ship has this auto tiler. I'm not including data layers on this because I really don't want to. Like, the ship manager owns all this data. It owns all the ships. And that data is available to things like the auto tiler. It's available back to the game manager, which is going to handle the scenes. Manager. So the path manager depends on the ship manager and the crew member manager. This relationship I'm a little less clear on. the crew manager, path manager, ship manager relationship. And we just have a thing called here ship manager, but the ship is obviously way more complicated than that. Let's just make a ship. Let's make a ship instance here, because a ship instance has a bunch of stuff involved. So it has the auto tiler that it needs to care about. This isn't right. Ship instance. Maybe we say ship data. Because the point is that the instance is up here in the scenes. Does not exist down here. So the ship manager owns this ship data. The ship data feeds the auto tiler. The ship data would also feed this path manager. So maybe the path manager does belong to the ship manager. It feeds, the ship data actually feeds both of these. God, I'm bad at systems diagrams. This isn't really how I think. I kind of just start working little by little. Like I'd find the smallest byte of this that I could manage, and I'd start working on it. And I'd work on the next smallest byte and the next smallest byte. I think that's how you have to do it to like survive. So maybe I should look more about how this kind of stuff works, or how you diagram this stuff clearly. Let's work on the game manager a little bit. You missed what this flowchart tool is called. Hey, Darren. This is actually a built-in functionality of Obsidian. Pretty cool tool. It's free, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, it has links, which I really like. So you can link, basically you have two versions of links. There's like, so there's this one, like one last mission. This is a link that's an internal link to another page, but you can also, if you had something similar that you just wanted to tag, you could also, and it's all markdown. So you can also tag stuff with like single set of brackets. So if I wanted to tag every reference of the Odyssey, I would just single tag it. And it doesn't lead anywhere, but it's a tag. And then and then the stuff that's double bracketed is links to other pages. And these pages can also be things like this. They can be flowchart canvases. We can even load images. We could drag image files. We could put notes from the different vaults in here. So let's find a small one. So I could say the game manager. So I could even just, next to this, I could group the page on the game manager next to the game manager. It's kind of awesome. I'm not going to, because that would chalk everything up, but I need to use this canvas thing more. It's like an infinite canvas too. Well, it's not infinite, but oh no, it is infinite. I'm not really a heavy game docs kind of person. Because games are so iterative, I kind of just like working on it. And because I'm a solo developer, I don't really have the communication burden of dealing with teams. So I kind of just work on stuff. And I kind of have the working memory because I'm the only person dealing with it. So I usually have a pretty good intuitive sense of like what the problem is. Like the roadblocks that we ran into trying to do a lot of this stuff. So I don't know. How about we work on some code? I think I'm kind of good on trying to do any more flowchart stuff right now.
toy when I walk, boy.
Oh my god, have I been muted for like a long time? That's embarrassing. Thank you. Thank you, two nerdy nerds. I was like, wow, engagement has been terrible the last like 15 minutes. I think I've been working silently the whole time. Oh, it's embarrassing. Certainly the whole time I've been swapping out this input handler, I've been muted. How are you doing, two nerdy nerds? Yeah, thank you. Sincerely, thank you for popping in. Lane, you thought the same? Oh, no worries, no worries. I wasn't doing much. I was just talking about yeah, how's the is there any release from having the Next Fest up? Or are you still just like crunching? I mean, you got like what, a little less than a month to a release day. But yeah, I was apologizing that like I don't know how much more system architecture stuff we can do today. I'm gonna get rid of these. Because I did not get a lot of sleep. So I'm like, I'm gonna think more about this, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow, about the system architecture stuff. We're gearing up for our major. It's gonna be crunch the whole month. Two nerds, you got this. Then you can rest on your laurels. I finished my all my weird sloped angular pieces. Two nerds. I say finished. I think I still need another set. I have a set of just walls and a set of walls plus floor slopes, and I think I need a set of just floor slopes, but I will do that off stream tonight. We're also working on miniature versions of all the exterior blocks, which I think are cool. They're actually been really easy to draw. I'll do those tonight as well. We might do those for the rest of the stream, honestly. Just draw out the rest of the set of miniature blocks. My brain is kind of fried. It's a lot of slopes. Yeah. Next Fest numbers will give you the power. Yeah, I hope they do. I hope they do. I'd shout you out, but you're literally the only viewer on the Twitch side, so. We've been having good viewership on YouTube, which I never thought possible. We had up to like 10 people watching concurrently on YouTube this morning, which is awesome. Thank you all you YouTube watchers hanging in, new to the channel. It's really empowering. Usually it's the other way around. Usually like all my viewers are on Twitch and nobody's watching YouTube. So this is cool. I'm gonna have to do some more YouTube engagement stuff if this keeps up. But yeah, our auto tiler can't really handle this, two nerdy nerds, because the slope has like the concept of direction. Hello, tubers. Hey, Tabugi, you're here now. Give them a shout out. You don't know two nerdy nerds at all? Of course. What I need is a system for like sending information about people's games to the YouTube side to like be able to link to people. Hey Tabugi, how's it going? You're also in or is are you also in the Next Fest? I know Foolbox is. Did you put anything in there in Next Fest? But yeah, Tabugi, we're in great shape here right now. We've got a we've added rotational mechanics to our auto tiler. So if I make a little room and I put some doors in it, we got the cutaway system working again. We've got rotation, so I can rotate the room around, spin the camera around. The auto tiler just works. It even works if I'm cutting away while doing it. But we're gearing up for a major refactor. Yeah, no worries. We're gearing up for a big refactor here, where we take our current system, we trim the scene tree so that it's just some auto loads up top, and then scene, and then the game manager, and all of the scenes in the scene tree, and then we split all of the logic out to sub-managers in C# land, with a little bit of back and forth. Maybe the auto manager talks back to the audio player or something like that. But the audio manager might also just talk back to the game manager, and the game manager manages scenes, which are the audio players stuff. We'll see. I'll have to see how many of the managers need to talk to the scenes and how many of the managers are just pure systems, just running on data. Like the ship manager will just be running on pure data. You made a whole mess of your publish dates and you missed Next Fest totally. You already published the game in early access, so that opportunity is gone. Gonna release in February 2025. That's exciting. That's exciting. You'll also be busy. But yeah, we got like 20 more minutes. I think I'm just gonna draw little tiny shapes, or I could draw the big floor tiles. Maybe I draw the miniature ones because that doesn't require a lot of mental effort. Since I have these seam shapes are really good because this is where the line work is, depending on whether you're the front face or the back face of a given shape. I like map those out. So making these shapes is like really easy. Determining where the seams were was like a nightmare. It took like 3 attempts for each of these to like finally be happy with the lines here. And I'm not completely happy with all of them, but it's kind of like the best of both worlds. There was kind of some, because we want to have these outlines, we want to have these vertical outlines that don't overlap like this. We have to be very careful about where we put the line work stuff. So that was complicated, but we did it after many tries and staying up till like midnight last night. So like this is a perfect map for this one. So we can just take, so if we want to make this shape, we just copy this, bring it down here, get rid of the extraneous, cut out the extraneous stuff. Recolor the outline. Fill this in. Oops. And there's our little tiny version. And this tiles with this perfectly. You'll notice the outline overlap. Perfect double outline overlap. It's a little weird is the way this works, which makes me think that there's something a little askew with makes me think that this should be up to here. It's a little funky. Taking shape slowly but nicely. Yeah. Aren't we all? Yeah. Maybe there's a problem with this, because if you look, this like hooks in here and there's all this extra space here. I honestly think this is supposed to have like this, which is weird, but I think that's correct. Yeah, I think that's right. Did I do that down here? I'm gonna try stop doing this because feel like this is jarring to the viewer. I'm gonna try to just drag over. It's jarring to me sometimes, but I talked about this with Tuner Nerds. For some reason, that's like the go-to workflow. We'll add this. And will that work here as well? Oh, it's too big here. Actually, it's fine, isn't it? Because it's in front of this. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, getting this to be consistent has been a huge nightmare. It's okay, you were born jarred. Weren't we all? All right. Talking to my boss today about maybe changing my work schedule next month, so I have more time. So I like have twice as much time to stream, or at least 50% more time to stream. I'm hoping here. Yeah, hashtag relatable. Yeah, here's another one. This should also probably be pointier. This should probably be like this. Looks a little weird, but it's probably correct. So like if we assemble like this shape, here. Yeah, that's probably more correct. The outline might look a little funky, but you got to remember that the auto tiler will replace a lot of the outline work. Are you still okay for time? Yeah, it's 9:45 my time. I start work at 10 o'clock. Generally, at the moment. Fingers crossed. All right, let's make the rest of these miniature shapes. So this one. Maybe this is right. Changed it. I've decided it was correct. It was correct before. Maybe not this one though. I'm still like obsessively like comparing these. It's kind of insane. It doesn't really matter, does it? But this one should probably be like this. I don't like this one like that though. But it should be. Dithering on a lot of these decisions. Let's forget about it. Let's move on to the next shape. So this one, if you grab this, it's like this. Bop. So it's just that. Love that. Love to see that. It's that plus this one? No. That plus this one. It's just combinations of these different seam shapes. Maybe this one? Oh. It's not this one, it's this one. So it's a combination of this one. They're off by one, which makes this like so hard. Combination of this one and this one, maybe? Yeah, okay. So to make that, so to build that shape, you just take this. And as well as this. And we just delete the extraneous material. I gotta lift my finger off the mouse more often, so that when I undo, I don't undo the whole thing. It's tempting to want to do it all, you know? I think it's this. I think it's this. So now we just replace the outlines. Color in the shape. And we have our cute little miniature version of this shape. We can duplicate, paste. So this one. Which one is this one? Is it this one? No, it doesn't look right. Oh, it's the combination of this side and this side. Okay. So the way we make that is actually we split this. That's it. I think so. Make sure it matches up here. It does not. I did something. Oh, it matches up to the back, not the front. So this. Yeah, this matches correctly. Okay. Fix the outline. We gotta just do these angular things here. So this should be this one, right? It's this one combined with probably this one. Yeah. Take this. Run it with this. That's our shape here. So that is, get rid of this. Yeah, these are turning out great being in miniature. Trim this little thing. I don't like those single pixels jutting out. Gotta trim those little shapes. Copy this over. Flip it. Let's do this one. So that one is... looks like it's this one. Is it just a cutout of this one? Yep. Okay. Making these half-scale models too easy. I made this too easy on myself. Make sure I got this right. Okay, so this one needs to be like this, though.
I saw it when I walked, boy.
This is the front, not the back. Yep, that looks good. The outlining is a little ridiculous at this level, but again, the auto tiler will get rid of most of these for us. So I actually need to draw these without different outlines. Yeah, making the sprite sheet version of this will be pretty tedious, but I don't need to do it right now. Don't need to do it right now. We're not ready for it. We need to change the model of our auto tiler before we can even handle these pieces, because these pieces have directionality to them, which our old pieces do not. Our old pieces were just omnidirectional cubes, but these pieces have directionality, and we need to be able to model that in our system, which we cannot yet do. That one. This is a nice little task to finish the stream with. Easy clap. This is the back face. There we go. Easy, but don't be late to work. Yeah, I got 5 minutes. I'm just gonna stand up, turn around, open my other computer. And by turn around, I mean turn a full 360 degrees. Stand up. Just do that just to pretend like I'm going somewhere else for my work. And I'm not just flipping over to the job. Yeah, 5 more minutes, Mom. No, but this is really nice. I'm happy with this. Looks a little janky, but I think at zoomed out levels, it's not gonna matter. Like if you normally look at it like this and then you see it like this, no one's gonna be able to tell. Surprising it worked as well as it did. I can't pause an online game, Mom. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, ship it. Appreciate the ship it. All right. Well, yeah, that's it for today. I'm going to do a little bit of this stuff offline. I'm going to think more about the architecture so we can have a better systems architecture discussion tomorrow. I need to do some research. But yeah. I need to run to work now, quote unquote run. But I really appreciate everyone for watching. Whether you were on Twitch or YouTube or whatever. Really appreciate you being here for part of your day with me here struggling through this. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. And I will see y'all next time. Bye.